So my presentation is about preparing for power outages. You know, what do you do when power goes out? Well, here's a lot of tips to help you get prepared. So a couple obvious things: if you have a generator, make sure it's in running condition and you have extra gas and oil. And secondly, if you use propane for your furnace and have a generator run your fan, well, make sure your propane tank stays at a good level. So thirdly, down power lines, if you encounter them, can be very dangerous. Stay at least 35 feet away from power lines, and even more in wet conditions. Electricity can travel through the ground and zap you. Don't touch anything. It could be sparking, it could be humming, or it could just be quiet. So just make sure you keep your distance from down power lines. Now, I have a number of different things for alternative lighting suggestions. So these headlamps I like to use, especially for reading. They work pretty good at night, and you know, you just strap this to your head, and then this moves up or down. This is a hand crank flashlight, so it doesn't use batteries. You just charge the battery by cranking, and these are fairly inexpensive at IKEA. And I'll put together a list of my items here and how much they cost. This is a small camping lantern that uses LED lighting. There's 3 AA batteries in the bottom of this one. And this is another type of camping lantern that has a hand crank. It doesn't produce a lot of light, but you know, in a pinch, they will work. These hand crank ones, they don't produce a lot of light or a long period of light. Just something handy to have. Now, this is a flashlight that I keep plugged into an outlet all the time, and when I need to use it, then you know, I've got a flashlight that doesn't require batteries. It just has a rechargeable battery in it. And this is a solar powered combination radio and flashlight. So I keep that in a window all the time to keep it charged. And it also has a crank to charge up the battery. For long periods of outages, maybe, you know, even for earthquake preparation, this is a good idea to have. So alternative heat sources. So this is a Mr. Heater, a Big Buddy. So this is the bigger one. They make a smaller version of it, but it's got the piezo heat elements, so that these are designed for uses in like tents and small rooms. It uses propane canister, you know, like this, and there's one on each side, so you can have a double. I haven't actually used this yet because I just bought this last winter, and we haven't had a long power outage yet, but I have an idea this will kick out a lot of good heat. Also, something that I saw on Pinterest was this flower pot heater. The idea being with candles, like just tea lights, you can create a radiant heat from this. So all it is two different sizes of clay flower pots, and it's got the big bolt in the middle, and then you need some kind of a tray to put this in that will allow some air to get under, feed the flame. So this is an inexpensive, it doesn't kick out a lot of heat, but it would be something I would use to take the chill off the kitchen or something like that. Just have it on the kitchen counter. So that's heating alternatives. Now for a cooking source, you should have some kind of a camping stove. I like this butane stove. It uses these butane canisters like this, just cartridge. A lot of caterers use this type of thing to keep their things warm, but this will boil water pretty easily, so I keep this handy. Now for phone chargers, this is something I have for in the car. This plugs into a cigarette lighter, and then you can just plug your charger in there. So one option for the car. I've also bought this solar charger. It's a panel, and it's got a USB connector on it. I haven't really tried this out yet. I think I need another adapter to make this work, or some kind of converter. So it's still something that I'm working on, but just something to let you know about. You can buy solar panels too that work for charging phones, something that doesn't need a lot of electricity. Now, for these, I bought a special filling kit so that I can hook up my 20-pound tank, on my barbecue grill, for example. I can hook that up to the end of my tank, and this little adapter here is designed to fill these canisters. And I haven't tried this yet, but evidently it'll just fill a pound, and and it'll automatically stop filling. The other thing, but I would be careful and do it outside for sure. The other thing is a filter. If you're filling propane from a bigger tank, they recommend having a filter. So this is something that would attach in this line as well. So then the only other things to recommend would be, make sure you have comfort foods on hand, things to make soups and pastas, have some hard candy, maybe some chocolate if you're, things like that, games, card decks, things like that, just to occupy your time, books to read. And then warm sleeping bags are a good idea. If, you know, so in my situation, I would run my generator about 3 or 4 hours twice a day, but it's not something I would leave on all night long. So I would want, you know, a nice warm sleeping bag to sleep in, and warmer clothes, you know. And the final thing would be to download the PSE app to your phone, because they provide good information now on outages, and when the outage is estimated to be fixed. So that's a good idea to have. So a couple of additional points. If you're using barbecue grills, make sure you do this only outside in open space. And the heater that I showed you uses a special heating element that doesn't suck oxygen out of the room, or at least as much oxygen out of the room. Not all heaters are designed that way. So if you're using a heater that says outdoor use only, or use a proper ventilation, or something like that, make sure you follow those guidelines, those rules, because this can create the, you know, the carbon monoxide and the poisoning that goes along with that. And then the final thing is carbon monoxide detectors are probably a good idea if you're using a lot of heating sources indoors, you know, even candles, which the Red Cross recommends not using candles. I have, you know, some available on my garage shelf, but you know, when the power outage comes, a long-term power outage, we'll probably be grabbing whatever is available to us. So just be careful.